Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Adventures of the Windswift. It's a full house, obviously, because you can see them all. None of them are cardboard cutouts, although, you know, it would be nice if one or two of them were. Then I'd have to deal with.
Oh, I can leave.
Fine, all right, okay.
One of my favourite jokes from all time was a show where they said it was a two-man show on a stage, and they said, we're modernising everything. This curtain behind us is not actually a real curtain; it's a photograph of a curtain. So there we go. But that's a very nice model, actually. All right, to give us a recap before we forget.
You can see yourself in the reflection.
All right, so Dice of Destiny is going to tell us who is up next, who's going to give us a review of last week. Fuck off. Who's going to give us
you guy, you do.
It's Con. I rolled a 2, and I was warming up the dice.
Yes.
That were all those.
This dice what you do as a player also, no? No, the one that was warming up the dice. Oh yeah, 20. Exactly. That's absolutely my role.
Exactly. It's warmed up now. That's definitely the number. All right, Con, what happened last week? Just take us through it, please.
Well, true to our tried and tested style of operations, we marched boldly into Drakenmoore and promptly elicited a welcoming committee from the very upper echelons of local high society, which we managed to placate, bore enough that they didn't immediately kill us, which is good. And we've managed to buy, hopefully, a bit of breathing room to get into Ulkov itself, which we managed to do, despite the fog and trees trying to kill Adversai and the usual fun and games you have in Drakenmoore, apparently. Getting ripped off by innkeepers, for example. We've really had a proper local experience so far.
It is. It's an expensive one.
Atramentum has disappeared to do whatever Atramentum does, whilst the rest of us, I think, have repaired to an inn in order to work out just how we're going to go about effecting this rescue.
I think that's pretty good, actually. Yeah, that sums up quite nicely. So yes, back into this inn of excitement and wonderment, where you sort of eventually all make your way in. The innkeeper beams a great big toothy grin at you as you all kind of congregate. Can I supply you all with drinks? First round is on house, yeah?
I think I'll have a Drakenmoorian ale.
A Drakenmoorian ale. Yes.
Local ale.
I will get that for you. Sure. Yeah. This is a local ale. Yep.
Adversai, you hear a tap, 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 tap from the nearest window.
I go open it.
In comes flapping onto your shoulder.
Hello.
What the hell is that?
Hey, no.
Pulls out a giant spiked mace from behind the counter.
Stop it. This is my friend. I have paid you enough gold to let me keep this bloody raven inside. Right?
The raven is domesticated, don't worry.
I hide behind Adversai's head.
He's very nice as long as you're polite.
He puts
yes, I know.
Stupid! Piss off! If I find any of the bird's paste anywhere, I will make foie gras from his liver.
You don't need any blood tax from the bird, too?
Blood tax?
Yes.
Drinks on the house, he says as he's in front of everybody. He puts down this ale in front of you, Jorek. That will be 7 electrum pieces. It's important. Everybody else has got this clear drink in front of them, known quite locally as Judd.
Fine. Here you go. 7 electrum, that's like what? 4 gold?
1 electrum is, I think, 4 silver pieces.
I thought it was 5 silver pieces. Maybe it's 4. We'll go with 4.
I think it was uneven, which was never used.
It was used except for Drakenmoore.
And it's still an alloy of gold and silver, so...
Yeah. So, there is
pure
Judd in front of you. Judd is this transparent liquid in a very small tumbler glass.
And it tastes like water.
Sniff it very carefully.
Yeah,
Does it
no
burn
odor.
my... No odor.
No. Yeah.
Try to drink it.
Yeah, it burns everywhere. Feels as if your ears are on fire.
The ears just go like,
Tail is poofy. No.
and the whiskers go like,
No.
Jorek takes Abdurside's glass and just downs it. Do I need to make a constitution save?
No, you grew up drinking this stuff. It's basically like water.
it's like water.
It's the stuff you
like
drink
water.
instead of water because the water is not very
It
clean.
tastes nasty, water around here, absolutely.
You see, all the
Okay, so
alcohol
I
in
have no
here keeps
problem.
the bacteria and all the nasty stuff out.
They-
I mean, it makes sense. Ew, but it makes sense.
All right, Atramentum, what is Plan B? We've been on tenterhooks for a whole week as to what Plan B is.
Try a little inside.
Sounds like our government's idea of a plan B at the moment.
Oh.
So there's this stupid ass skeleton still around, right?
Correct.
Fine. Climb back onto the wall parts. Go over to where one of the windows are.
Sure.
And I assume these are the Gothic ones with like the biggest parts of the windows like this big.
Correct.
Because of the
Lead plating, yeah.
lead kind of, yeah, okay. So and most of them probably are colored as well, right? To get like interesting.
Correct.
When the sun shines,
Well,
right?
they still cast an interesting.
Yeah, all the sunshine.
Yes.
So I kind of take a look inside, and I don't care if it's dark inside, just mind you.
Sure.
So kind of take a look inside and see what I see.
So inside this particular corridor that you're in, I'm going to roll randomly for it.
It's
There
called a
is
5C, whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of look inside it. Very little movement initially, and then every now and again you'll see a human moving with a tray of
Human,
human.
like one with a pumping heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's what they look like. You kind of change stained glass to sort of look at them in the red spectrum. You look at them
Red, then green.
Then you open both eyes and
And
you
it's
kind of get
3D.
3D. Yeah. Cool.
I'm
As
getting Predator vibes here, dude.
you're kind of playing around with the different. Yeah. There is a piece of air going.
And there are 3 dots just like inside.
So every now and again you do see a human with a tray. Sometimes it's carrying papers, sometimes it's carrying what looks to be silverware. There's domed plates of food being carried around. They move very quickly, very purposefully, very quietly. They don't ever congregate in groups of people at all.
Okay. So the part of the whatever internal structure that I see, is there like a doorway inside?
Yes, it's double volume, so nice high ceilings with lots of cross beams and the like, vaulted ceilings sometimes as well.
Oh,
And
that's
then
perfect.
Internal doors, again, very heavy wooden internal doors. What you
I'm very happy.
gather from the layout of the castle and the doors inside is that the defensive strategy of this place is not to keep people out. It's once you're inside, if the doors are all locked, you are going to be trapped in these little corridors of maybe 30 or 40 foot in length. Yes, they're double volume, but you suspect that most of the things that get trapped in that space can't access the upper volume. And the upper volume is actually useful for then things to be able to drop down onto whoever's trapped inside. So lots of doors compartmentalizing the entire space.
Good. How far away is the next beam from me being outside?
Oh, probably about 2 feet. That's about as thick as the wall is, I suppose.
All right. Then I misty step inside.
All right.
I lose my invisibility and go invisible right away. But I obviously try to see if there's anybody in there, kind of try to time it so there's nobody in there, if there's like any kind of regularity between like them moving around and so on. So I'm really careful.
Got you. There's not so much of a regularity that happens, but certainly there's a window for you to kind of get through, if you'll excuse the pun. So yes, you appear on the beam and you disappear invisible as soon as you can.
Good. Take a look around.
Sure, it's the same corridor. There's a funny, it's definitely a different aroma inside than it was outside. The aroma inside is, well, it kind of reminds you, as a matter of fact, of a rose garden. This very slightly scented rose on the air.
Okay.
And then 2 doors, one at the end of the corridor and one at the other end of the corridor. And then there's a third one, which is almost directly underneath you, which obviously leads deeper into the actual structure itself.
Cool. Okay. So how high up am I at this point? Can
25.
I decide how high am I?
The beams sit right at the top. The beams are all...
No, I mean like in stories and sense of the entire...
Oh, I have, in my head anyway, I've seen you on the 3rd floor.
Of?
The entire structure. Oh, you mean how much higher? Because each floor is 20 foot, as opposed to 10 foot, which normal structures are, you think that there are another 3 above you.
Okay, so I'm in the middle, basically.
Yeah.
Doesn't make my decision a lot easier, because I thought try the highest or the lowest point first. Okay, in that case, I'm gonna go up first. So what I'm trying to do here, just to make this a little bit shorter and not like lasting 2 hours. What I'm trying to do is obviously scout out the place, get the lay of the castle, I guess, or mansion.
Sure.
See how many people are inside, see kind of where the connections are, from where you can go to where. Like usually there are like these key kind of areas which everything would converge in, like a big ballroom or whatever, what have you, right? I would try first to go. I said up, right? I would try first to see go up and see if there's any interesting there, like a big, I don't know, gong, like or like a magic mist maker or whatever you might look for. If specifically, also obviously, I'm very interested in different looking places, right? Like the super secure vault doors or whatever. Like if there's anything like this, I'm just saying, like in the sense of brevity, not going from room to room to room, say like, oh, you need to explain each kind of room. So what do I find?
All right. So I would like you to give me a stealth check, because there are now creatures that can hear you as you are flitting about. I don't suspect you're going to fail, though, because you have advantage, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
27, natural 20.
Yeah, nice. All right, so yes, you start moving around the castle. It will take you some time, however, to move around. I'm assuming you're waiting for servants to go through doors before you open them?
Yes, I have time.
Just slip through. All right, perfect.
Yes, I have time.
That's absolutely fine. All right.
And I am invisible.
Yes, I'll come back to you as you continue to search through, and you went upwards first. Excellent. Okay, back to the 4 of you at the tavern. What are you doing?
Did we have time to pick up Sekhet some kind of clothes?
Yes. Is it ostentatious, or is it what the commoners are wearing, which this
I think
is a delightful
modest. I don't know. Up to you what you want.
Oh, of course I want ostentatious. What do you think I want?
Well, do you want to make this guy more like interested in you or less?
I'm going to probably try and burn him. So, perhaps I shouldn't have said that inside the inn.
I imagine we're sort of in the streets looking for a shop.
You should probably not say it there either.
Look, I need it to be of my style. I mean, I've got to wear this like as
be hard to find. Just saying.
Do you kind of look around and realize that everyone wears basically these, for lack of a better word, it's almost like an Edwardian ruff, or maybe even earlier than that, Elizabethan ruff, I suppose.
trying to keep the vampires away from the necks much.
Yeah, pretty much. But the tones, the colours are greys, browns, things that don't really show up mud very much. And
See, I'm more of a spring person than a winter.
you look around Drakenmoore. Drakenmoore was once a spring place before the vampires took over.
Longer.
I'm talking about a colour palette here. I know that they
You can find, there is a tailor shop, the same one that Etramentum went to, that caters to the nobility, if you like, of Drakenmoore.
We're not supposed to dress you up as nobility right now, are we?
No, but we can talk to him about something that's similar cut to what they're all wearing, but in a nice, I don't know.
Like wrapping a present. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right, deduct 125 gold pieces, and you've got yourself a very modest, very dressed down, pastel yellow.
You're gonna have to pay me back for that later.
I have money. I just sneak it to you and you can pay for it.
Yes.
Throw the money at the...
I'm going to end up paying for it myself anyway.
Yeah.
This was your idea.
Yeah.
Con, what are you doing whilst these two are busy dressing down in the
I
brightest...
thought that was earlier in the day. Are we not all in the inn at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I assume we're just going to go get up to our rooms later and have a little chit-chat.
All right, then you can do it now.
Not in the presence of
making his way up the stairs.
nosy innkeeper.
Okay, so having got back from our lovely shopping trip, we will then join.
What are you talking about?
Well, Jorek, what does your sister look like?
Well, first off, Jorek is going to go through the room and check, are there any listening holes? Or I ask Adrosai, you see if there's any surveillance spells.
I can have a look around. And I can cast Detect Magic as ritual. And I can, just have a general searching of the place.
Because we're in Drakenmoore now.
We're in Drakenmoore.
Not as bad as the Drow Kingdoms, but it's bad.
That makes the Drow Kingdoms look like a retreat for pacifists and hippies. So do you do an investigate check?
Yeah, 22.
All right. There are 6 listening holes that you find, 2 in the floor, 1 on each wall, and then another one in the door, and then 1 in the ceiling.
Great.
So,
I find something to plug them with.
Sure, not a problem. You cast your detect magic, is that right?
Yeah.
The room does not glow with any magic. There's no magic devices around.
If I sort of take a little walk around in the corridors outside, do I see anything?
Why do you ask these complicated questions?
I'm sorry. Trying to be not a failure for once in this adventure. I'm trying to be useful.
Trying not to be Adrosai for once.
Right.
Doing my
You do not detect any magic in the corridor.
All right. Well, then I'll go.
All right, now we can talk.
Well, the way I see it, we have 2 options. One, we follow instructions and show up at the castle with the slave, as expected. Or 2, we do what we're optimized for, which is sneak in, find your sister, and get her out before anyone realizes what's happening. The only other problem with that is if we don't show up as expected, what will happen? Someone will come looking for us, I presume. They probably already know we're staying here.
Yeah, likely.
Once they don't find us, then what?
I would prefer not having to sell again. It just,
The sun
That would be
Less
great.
finding us be a distraction from sneaking into the castle.
Yeah.
the problem is, even if Sekhet could make a good distraction, the problem is getting her away from the vampire.
Well,
I
I found a new thing I can do. I can sort of teleport myself around 500 feet. So
That's good.
That sounds handy.
So
Yeah.
here's a more general question. Is there any difference for the vampires if it's day or night here?
Doesn't seem to be. You didn't notice it with the 3 that were with you.
Okay. Because there might be like the power of the night emboldens them or whatever. That's what I wanted to know.
Sure.
Because that's probably something that we would have spoken before we even get here, right? So it's fine.
Yes, like in other vampire myths, are they sort of maybe awake during the day but lethargic?
Exactly.
Drakenmoore, the vampires just seem to always be awake and always standing where you don't want them.
Perky.
Happy days.
Perky vampires.
Perky, happy.
So,
They're just like this at the door, like
Waiting for you.
Well, I mean, out of all of us, I suppose Con is the one who's best suited to, snooping around.
What are we talking about? I can turn us all invisible if we need to.
Yeah, but the rest of us are kind of expected to be around.
okay.
No.
So, within reason, I can probably get out of the castle within this 500 feet, right? And join you wherever you guys are.
Well, how about you give her the necklace of Alter Self, then you could teleport away and make yourself look like someone else.
That's
If-
also
if-
works.
That is
Goes
not a
down.
bad idea. Here,
Yay! I had a good idea.
I hand the necklace over to Sekhet.
Great. So now I've got to keep this hidden as well.
Yes, don't show that to the vampire. He might be
silver
Very
necklace.
Offended.
slightly offended.
Yes. Weren't you supposed to be giving that to my father?
A little peeved.
No, his father would not want something silver. So
No.
anyway, that was Atra's thing. He
All right, so Sekhet, you're okay with being a distraction?
yeah, as long as you realize you're still paying for this later.
Oh, yes, I know.
Oh, you
At the
still have
moment, I
to...
was mostly just trying to not get us immediately killed. So you'll have to excuse the rather crude solution.
And what happens if I try and burn the castle down?
They'll
that would be-
probably put it out. They're
No.
vampires. They're pretty powerful.
Oh,
Also,
They're
it's-
likely the only magic
No.
users in this entire country, by the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of magic use, do you know how they do the mist, Jorek? Is it a vampire thing or is it magic?
I think it's magic. I don't know. The mist has always been here.
Because, I mean, if it's magic, I don't technically know how to do it, but if I could, somehow find out how they do it, maybe I can find the spell somewhere, if I get a moment to
already
sneak
got
from
the
the
spell.
library.
Does the druid have an idea what the source of the mist is?
It's not natural. You know that much.
I
But
would guess
mist
it's
is-
just a matter
mist
of them casting the spell so often that it's just become permanent. There's so
That
magic
is
in the
the
air
thing,
that
yes.
it's just
There's
there.
some magic in the air.
That's my guess.
But isn't mist
If
just
I-
water droplets?
If my detect
could
magic is
you-
still around, do I get a magic sense from the mist? Outside the window?
Very slight magic, but it's when you kind of watch it, you look at it, and there's a necrotic energy behind it, but it's very, very background.
Ooh.
I was waiting for you to say that she doesn't have the foggiest idea, but
Hey-oh.
Oh my god.
Oh,
It's
that
dead.
is
It is
necrotic
mist.
magic.
It's
I am
hot.
not.
You can part water, you can part mist, right?
No. Those are very, I mean, I could part mist if you wanted me to do it one droplet at a time, but then that would take
One drop at a time.
That's
like it might take me a while.
This
You
is
just
also
part, you'd part the droplets, so you'd end up with more mist.
Yes. Each of them just damn.
Okay, that wouldn't work. And it's probably because it's, nighttime. I was thinking you could have like a light beam coming in from the sun and make all the vampires
very
very
nice.
sad.
But you didn't you say you were going into weather magic and stuff? What
Yes,
about a
but
strong wind?
it's
Need a
not.
hell of a lot
This
of
is
wind to
not
clear
the.
this much fog away.
Yeah, the wind has to be able to push the fog somewhere, and then more fog will come in. There has to be somewhere not foggy for the
See,
fog.
this
to
is why
go.
I'm not a mage.
Okay, I fear we're sidetracking here.
Yes. The first thing we need to do is figure out where she is.
Mhm.
And I'm
Well,
hoping that
Tom-
Atramentum is doing something towards that.
Yes, what is Atramentum doing? You asked him to help. Did you pay him?
No.
No, that is
Atramentum
not
does what Atramentum does.
Well, then I'm going to take a leap here and say that he has other reasons to be here, and that's what he's off doing,
Likely.
Possibly.
which is of no help to us.
You
right
hear,
now,
hear
but
the
hopefully
sirens
we'll
go
be
off in
late.
the background.
He's a tiefling. He's only going to be doing this for his own gain. So whatever his own gain is probably not involved with what our gain is. So I say
Again, I think that's mostly because he's a Cabal assassin and not because he's tiefling. And I think we shouldn't
Wait a
be
second.
stereotypical about people's various duties here.
why not?
So,
Speaking of which, Jorek takes up the Ankh symbol
Mhm.
that he's been carrying.
Uh-huh.
I still have this.
The one you got
As
from
you
the...
are holding it, it seems as if it's warm, and you're fairly certain it's not because it was pressed against your butt.
You keep it at your
Ouch,
butt
thank
all
you
the
very
time.
So what do you want to do? Trade that for your sister?
No, but maybe this can give us a way in. Remember, this castle used to be the Duke Ulkov's castle.
True.
So
The,
you
Part
think
the
that
wall.
by saying that we
Apart the castle.
killed the Duke, that they're going to be happy?
Not likely, no.
I mean, the problem is that that thing is a key, and starting to use it as a key might
Open
unlock
things.
yes, that we don't want it to open, especially since he was very eager about coming back here.
It depends on what it opens, but it's warm. It's never been warm before. We're definitely close to it.
Are you sure that's not just because it was pressed against your butt?
I have a pouch. Yes, it's not against my butt. Why is everyone so obsessed with my butt?
I don't know what you're talking about. No.
I'm not.
Either way, we're very much out of our depth, and we have no idea what we're doing. So I mean,
well,
No,
yes,
I
I
think
imagine
that's
that
Khan should
they're
become the
expecting
raven.
us to show up with Sekhet anytime soon now.
Yeah, so why don't you, as a raven, go and find out where they're keeping his... What does your sister look like?
Like him.
Well,
Only with boobs.
Yes, like me. No, but she'll probably stick out a bit because she does have white hair. It's not that common in Drakenmoore.
so
It's
high
more
elf
common among the
with
elven
hair.
population, but still not common.
seems the-
White hair and hazel
Also-
brown eyes. So
uh,
brew eyes.
so what?
Hazel brew.
Good word.
Let me just get this straight. You're going to go and present Sekhet,
Yes, and
So
hopefully get into the castle.
infiltrate? and then what are you going to do?
I have no idea.
No, not you. These two.
You're a slave. Shut up.
Well, he's infiltrating. We know it.
Honestly, I'm hoping to be able to sort of, while you grease the wallets or whatever it is you do, I'll be able to slip away doing more 70 stuff and have a look around.
So
I
the
think we
plan
should have
is
located her
we will
first.
the castle in our ways.
This is not
Yes.
the plan.
What if everything goes horribly wrong and we have to escape in a hurry? Where do we meet
This
up?
is the problem. We can't all communicate with each other. So
No. I mean, I can...
Turns to Neos. Well, one of them.
I can call
Um,
me if that helps, but no.
Did you get a good look of the city when you flew around, Con? Is there a sort of secluded place where we could all meet up?
There are lots
People-
of little side alleys. Lots
well, inside the complex itself.
No, inside the entire thing is a singular structure. Not completely unreminiscent of Valenhold, as a matter of fact, but just dedicated
Valenhold.
to a single worship of the occupants. God.
Yes, and when they're not busy worshipping the vampires, they're worshipping Nö. It's the only goddess allowed around here.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Could we meet up? Is there a temple nearby to the castle that is for...
There is indeed a temple to Nur here. Absolutely. The vampires want their population happy and alive and being reborn.
Right, so near the temple, if everything goes horribly wrong.
All right, so here's the thing. We can't just sneak in, have a look around, and sneak out again.
Huh?
Because
You could have
Sekhet is
told me.
going to be stuck with the vampire.
That's my plan.
I think Sekhet has a problem of sneaking away from that vampire. He's going to be expecting, well, other things.
Well,
Do
with
I even
the
want to know what this thing is expecting? I mean,
Probably
he's
not.
talked about
Just wait for the
moaning.
earliest convenience.
If
probably
you're lucky, all he wants is biting you.
Biting?
And that's if you're lucky.
Now he
I
wants
think-
to bite me.
If we're going to infiltrate,
Is it
we
a
need to
pinky
make
chip?
some sort of arrangement to meet up on the inside, otherwise we're not going to be effective.
Yes.
You remember how he was clothed?
Yes.
mostly chains.
Mostly chains, yes. Leather pants.
Well, since we don't know anything about what the inside of this place looks like, I suppose
And I don't know the Ulkov very well either, because
if we need to
my
meet...
sister could
I
be
thought it wasn't
I-
Ulkov.
He could
Here's an idea.
Oh, it's a new Ulkov.
One key.
Both Ulkov.
You hand over Sekhet. Hopefully, they dismiss you after that because they're not interested in you. The three of us can then infiltrate the complex together, because Adressai, you can communicate with Sekhet so that we can find each other on the inside. But if the three of us split up,
Yes.
we're lost.
Yes.
I just want to warn you that this communication thing is strictly a 3 times a day kind of thing. 5 times if I'm really straining, but I absolutely don't want to.
Hopefully we
fine.
should only need it once.
Yes, and I'll do my best to try to sniff around. I mean, Sekhet, if you have a moment, maybe you can speak to the vampires there about the ceremony and what's going to happen and what will be
They're
expected.
not
And
going to tell her anything. You heard what he was like. The way he spoke about her on the road to
He
Ulkov.
just expects me to be
expected
like,
all right, well, people will say a lot of things in the presence of a slave that they don't really consider to be someone worth paying attention to.
It's a possibility, yes.
If you just stick around and stay quiet, then you'll be surprised at how much people will talk about around you.
I have noticed that human males are very susceptible to seeing certain parts of the female body. Does it work on vampires?
I would say it would work 3 or 4 times as well on a vampire.
Hmm.
Their
That's very
senses are ahead.
mathematical of you.
All of them.
Adressai, do you remember that time we got that little student to talk about a lot just because I flashed my boobs at him?
Yes, I think that was one of my first experiences of boobs.
Yeah, this is why I'm
I don't think I need to know this.
very, very confused.
I'm happy that
about
I'm in the
it.
castle.
I mean, not
It was an interesting evening. I mean, we gleaned a lot of information out of him that day. And we managed to pass our exam as a
how you managed to pass your exam. I did not need any help to pass my exam. Thank you very much.
Anyway, it worked.
Anyway, remember this. Don't speak unless spoken to.
How long have we got? They said sundown,
Good at
didn't they?
Yeah,
Hard to
you've
tell
got
in this
about
place.
10 minutes.
It's hard to tell in this bloody hell.
One more thing. What if we need to talk amongst ourselves? Is there any language that these people are not likely to know? Or are they scholarly enough to know everything?
The vampires will probably know every language, but I would doubt that the servants or the populace know any other language than Drakenmoorian,
Obviously.
which is just a really weird Elvish accent after all.
Right. Well, I guess we're as prepared as we're going
Just
to be.
turn all your "w" into "the" and you're fine.
What?
All right, that's your plan. That's hopefully what's going to happen. Atramentum, you have been making your way through the castle and you've seen various rooms and things. Most of the spaces are just large, empty rooms. The servants will go into them, dust, collect cloth that hangs over. And it looks as if they activate different rooms during different time periods, because as it's starting to shift now towards darkness, other rooms... Sorry?
What do you mean by activate?
Yeah, so what I mean is they will go into those rooms and there'll be large, very ostentatious sort of couches and chaise lounge, and they will pull sheets off of them and start lighting fires in those rooms. So they'll bring the room to life. They'll light candles and activate the room. Whereas the runs towards the windows, those they start to shut down. They put sheeting over it. They start to sort of shut up windows against the big stained glass type stuff. So they're kind of locking the light out. Again, more about keeping things inside than keeping things outside from getting in.
Yeah, as I said, I was looking for like stand-outish things, right? Like a.
So you made your way to the top floor as best you can, but it's becoming increasingly difficult. There's less and less servants moving around here. Sure. So you've been following one old bod. He's definitely elvish, and he's kind of been going around. And every now and again, he lights a particular sconce in the wall, just to give the castle some light.
Yep.
Until eventually he arrives at this large central chamber, which, by your kind of rough measurements, it's the only room on this level. This is now the uppermost level.
Okay.
And it's just this very large chamber. And in the center of it, as he kind of goes in and he sort of lights the tapers and things, in the center of it is this very large plinth. And on top of this plinth is this very black, perfectly round, perfectly smooth sphere. And he doesn't seem to pay any attention to it whatsoever. Do you have a look at that closer, or do you kind of stay where you sort of are?
So, being the careful person that I am, first I take a look the directions where the dude walks around, this old servant guy.
He's just going in a very slow circle, but you realize that once he's done a circuit, he's leaving.
Right, but I have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So, taking a look at the ground, is it like
beautiful inlaid mosaics of marble, stone, and other bits and pieces?
Anything stand outish?
What stands out is the lack of any kind of personalization. Elsewhere in the castle, there's large oil paintings of various people. There's suits of armor. Here, there's nothing but the bare marble, which in itself is still, if you like Gothic architecture, still very, very pretty. But it's almost as if the space was designed to be neutral in terms of its look.
So I meant more in the sense of, aside from the veins in the stone, is there any kind of external kind of masonry work, arcane runes?
Nothing that you can see.
Like pressure plates, things like this.
You'll have to give me an investigate check for.
Right, that's what I'm kind of.
Gotcha.
Before I kind of take a closer look, I take a closer look at the other stuff. 20.
You kind of look around. There doesn't seem to be anything. There is, however, now that you are looking around, there's an octagonal trapdoor, or at least you think it's a trapdoor, but you have no idea how you would open it because there doesn't seem to be any sort of handholds in them. There's no circular little O-ring that can pop up, but it's definitely, it's not like raised up. It's slightly inset. You can just see the actual groove where it would be.
And that is underneath the like of darkness?
No, slightly to the left of it. So you would imagine if you came up that, you would be next to the sphere.
Okay, so then the next question, I assume I know the answer already, is from moving through the lower levels, I never was underneath this thing, right?
No, never.
Yeah. So then the last thing is that I don't go too close to this black orb. I just want to get like a general idea of what kind of material it is. If it is also stone, if it is magic goo, if it is whatever, right?
It looks like it's a seeing stone because when you look at it, you realize it's not actually black the closer you get to it. The closer you get to it, you suddenly start to see, oh, hang on a moment. It looks like rooftops of buildings ever slowly changing, as if you were this giant eye kind of looking around.
Okay, so I step away from the palantir and basically wait then for the round to finish.
Yeah.
And this is the toppest of the top layers, right? Levels, right? That's what you said?
Correct.
Okay, then once you get out, I weasel my way down, and the next pass would be down, which I assume will get easier and easier the lower I get, right?
It does. Well, it does get easier until you pass below the street level, which
Okay, it goes underneath. Okay.
Yeah, the lower 3 levels are. It looks like prop rooms, quite literally rooms that have got beds in them that don't look as if they've ever been slept in. There's large dining rooms, so if the Duke entertains, possibly this is where it happens, but it certainly doesn't look like anyone's living there now. Once you start going below, that's when it starts to get busier and busier, and more people as well.
Okay.
Moving around. This time, though, it's not just sort of servants scurrying about. This time round, there are men dressed in armor, busy moving in groups, talking.
Human or
I beg your pardon?
Humans or
It's a mixture. Humans, elves. You don't see any dwarves or gnomes, but primarily humans and elves. And you can tell that these are Drakenmoorian, their accent, point number one, but the elves are not the high elves of Athane Basul, and they're not sort of the Sejeti either. They definitely...
Yeah, what is produced here.
Correct. And you get to one level below ground, and it's as if you've stepped into a war office. There are soldiers moving around. There are women busy running around with clipboards and notes and things. Rooms you walk past have got maps up of Braxia as well as of Drakenmoore itself. There's sort of tables. They've got, it looks like different wooden troops and things all over the place. Do you want to...
Are there vampires about too?
You haven't seen any.
Because that's something that I would be interested in as well, right? And I'm 2 levels below now?
Currently, yes.
Fine. Okay, I get out.
You move out? All right.
Yeah.
So kind of in the same style, working your way out and then misty dipping.
There are a few things that I want to do while I do all these things, though. Is first, at least the armored people, I want to get a rough head count of what I've seen, right?
All right.
Just like in the 10s, in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s, whatever. Just like rough head count for that. And I obviously also want to kind of try to kind of familiarize myself with, like, as I said, like the walkways and so on and so forth. Right, like how to get from here to here. Are there alternative routes? Which ways lead to exits, and or also like windows, which are like potential exits, I guess.
Sure.
Kind of get like an idea of how this place is organized and so on.
The biggest impression you get, you probably count 25 soldiers in total that are on duty. The amount that are moving in and out and bringing reports in and taking reports out, you can't keep track of. There's just too many.
No. I'm just saying like 25 out around.
Correct.
So let's say like about 100 or whatever is what my assumption is. That
possibly, yes. What you realize is that the entire upper structure is literally for show.
Yeah.
Underground.
No, I got that.
Yeah. No windows. The exits are, like I said, fairly heavily guarded, but they are quite broad, sweeping staircases that go down. Again, though, with heavy oaken doors that can be closed and locked. They're not at the moment because there's so many people coming up and going down. So
you're saying going down to a 3rd level?
There's more, much more. You get a sense that there's much more underneath. Absolutely.
Okay. So I saw further possible ways down,
correct,
although them being guarded. That's what you said, basically.
Absolutely. Okay. Correct.
Okay. Then I go out, go to a beam, teleport out, invisible, and go down, right?
Sure. Are you going to return back to the inn?
I don't know about the inn yet.
That's right. So where are you going to head from here?
I know that they were supposed to go towards the castle, so that's why I'm going to wait invisibly.
Right. Back to the 4 of you. Con, are you turning back into a raven? Or did you just stay as a raven?
Good question. No, I don't stay as a raven. Once we went and strategized in the room, I turned back into a human. And before we leave, I'm going to pack away anything that screams druid into my bag. I'm not going to go with them. I will follow at a discreet distance.
All right. So you're following a discreet distance. So the three of you then are making your way towards the castle itself.
Yes.
I actually remembered something, and as we sort of approach, I want to cast Arcane Eye, my newest spell. An invisible magical eye that hovers around and can move around at 30 feet per turn, sort of just normal speed. And as we walk, and I can sort of see it sort of separately from my own. I can see through it, but separately from my own vision, so I can like see both at the same time. It's probably a little disorienting, but you know, I'll get used to it.
I think the only way you can see it is if you have see invisibility, right? Then you see the eye. I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it's invisible. Magical eye, that's what it says. And I'm going to, as we move, I want to sort of start sending that through the castle and just start going through, trying to sort of map the inside, what it looks like, and sort of basically just try to find Jorek's sister using this thing. And it can get through any opening as small as 1 inch in diameter. So basically any way you can squeeze an eyeball through.
The inch is less than an eyeball.
Yeah.
An inch is 2.5 centimeters.
Yeah, well, you can squeeze it, so the eyeball, like...
It's
and then
very
it sort
small.
Eye of Kilrog.
Yeah.
It's really small.
Floating around.
Eye of Mini Rog.
All right, so it's going through, not a problem. As you move in, it does mean that you're only moving at 30 feet around, though, because you can only move, and then it takes action to move it, so that's fine. You're kind of just trying to get this thing going.
Yeah, I'm just sort of sauntering, I guess.
Yeah, casual. You're walking casual. You know, Sekhet's walking to her imminent
Yes.
use and abuse, but yeah, sure. Walking casual next to us. Nothing going on here.
It depends who you see doing the using and abusing.
I will not be staying around for that one, I think.
All right, so you arrive at the main gates.
No, she will be watching.
Yeah. At Trementum, it's not difficult to see these three arriving. One of them is dressed in... What colour did you settle upon, Sekhet?
What, my dress?
Yes.
My outfit?
Yeah.
Did you say pastel yellow? I'm not sure if that really
yellow.
goes
Yes.
with my
It's sort of a-
complexion, but it'll do. I
Yeah,
guess
that's gonna
pastel
stand
yellow
out.
with pink trimmings. This is Sekhet, and she likes pink.
Nice.
My
I'm impressed
God.
that the tailor had those fabrics
Yeah,
in.
well, they do, because there are some noble ladies who like to wear them, but not necessarily in such public spaces. But anyway, so,
Not a lot of vampires wearing pastel pink, guy.
Yeah, not a lot. But
I can't think why.
so this brilliantly lit up
There's a trope to turn on its head.
cupcake arrives with Jorek and Adresai as you make your way to the castle. As you arrive at the castle, one of the guards steps forward. This is not an undead guard, this is a human guard. This is the front-facing part of the castle. Looks you up and down. We have been expecting you. Would you please come with me, he says. And he turns and the gates, these large wooden doors swing open. And you send your eye in quickly through that. And then the three of you follow behind. Con, Atrementum, what are you doing? You're seeing them both going in.
I wasn't in there. I know the shit.
Yeah, correct. So what are you doing now? You just watch them
I'm
go
waiting.
in. Okay, you're going to wait for them to come back.
I just wait for them to get away from me. I'm not just like,
Oh, hey guys. All right. Con, you were lingering in the background. You're muted.
I'm lingering in the background because I'm not part of the party as far as anyone knows.
Right.
Fairly confident that I can catch up when I need to, if I need to.
All right. Okay. They go in. The doors get shut behind them with this loud, resounding bong as they closed. And you're led down these very well-lit, beautifully appointed corridor. Large black Gothic archways reach upwards as if they're trying to touch the stars. And this very plush red carpet lines the walkway. Lots of candle sticks on large plinths all over the place, giving this very, almost a romantic feeling to the space. Giant stained glass windows on either side, let in what little light is coming in from outside, kind of painting with very soft blues and greens and reds all over the walls. The corridor itself eventually terminates in another set of double doors where there are different guards wearing slightly better looking armor, and they push them open, and there's this large, very warm space inside.
It didn't go up or down any.
No, straight along. Large spaces, there's massive roaring fire going on in this gigantic fireplace, easily 30-foot long fireplace. It's just spectacularly large. And very comfortable couches and armchairs laid out in front of it. Gigantic paintings on the walls of these very noble-looking individuals. And as you step through, a voice calls out, "Oh, how wonderful! You brought me my slave." And Luca kind of slides off one of the chairs and walks over, swaggering his hips, sort of rolling his shoulders in opposite time, giving this really playboy-esque kind of mince, I suppose you could call it.
Jorek bows.
"I see you have dressed her in this garb. You don't waste your money on this. One does not need to gild the lily."
Yes. So, let's get to business, shall we?
"There's bag, take and go. Leave me with my new beautiful creature," he says.
Jorek's going to go over to the bag.
Waiting for your hand, Sekhet.
Jorek's going to check the bag. How much is in it?
It's a sizable bag, and when you kind of... Are you going to open it and start counting it?
Yes.
His hand was held out for your hand, Sekhet, and then when he sees Jorek starting to count it, this is not a good idea.
No. But Jorek is playing the part of not being someone who's not Drakenmoorian.
He moves up behind you, Jorek, and whispers in your ear, almost a little bit too close. "You don't trust me?"
Oh, no, it's simply that you have made an offer and I have yet not accepted your offer. This is a trade, after all.
My friend, you will find that what you are purchasing with this slave is worth more than the money in that bag.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
Right. Jorek's going to shrink a bit and say, "I see what you mean, my lord. Pleasure doing business." And Jorek will sort of inch towards the door. "Pleasure to meet you."
Oh,
I sort of sidle up and sort of take the money, being the accountant, and just sort of push it away.
The count then. 1, 2,
2, 3, 4.
And as I turn around...
Oh, 1, 2, yeah.
Stop talking.
As I turn around, I'm going to throw a gaze at Sekhet and just, "You're going to be all right." All right. Let's go, Rowan.
More worried about the vampire.
Yes, sir.
And we'll
leave. You're escorted out by the guards. As they leave the main chamber, the doors are shut, and Luca turns his attention back to you. All his smiles immediately drop away, and he says quite simply, "If you want to live, you will do exactly as I say. If you don't want to live, I will eat you now."
I thought you didn't like it when slaves talked.
"You are no more a slave than I am celibate."
Great.
You're free.
I'm free? That's marvelous. So I just,
Thank you. Bye.
So, do you want to die now? Or do you want to put on a little performance, since that is what you're so good at doing? And then I will release you in 6 days. You have my word.
performance.
Yes.
What, as a duck or something?
Dance.
Dance. Right.
In 5 days' time, my father is marrying a piece of rubbish filth in an incredibly public display. Oh.
No.
What did you say about my sister?
You're not there.
I know.
We are walking away.
In a display of such reverence for our bloodline that I am sick to my stomach. You
Right.
play the part of my common wife that I have decided to marry. And then we will see if father is so inclined to marry common blood. You will put on your most arrogant performance, much like you have been trying to hide now. Be the Sejeti upstart elf that you are. Talk to father as if he is just a man.
That's
Do what
easy.
it is you do. Continue to wear
I'm into it.
It's just like,
dresses.
sure.
Do I get any nicer clothes if I do this?
That
Can I have
depends on
shoes?
your definition of nice. You wear whatever you like. Wear all of it, wear none of it. I don't care. Whatever makes my father unhappy.
No, I see.
There's
We're doing
risk
that.
he just kills you. I'm willing to run that risk.
I'm willing to risk your life.
If he has any of his grandmother's old clothes lying around, that would probably piss off Dad.
Ew.
Just imagining
Just
the
saying.
Harry Potter scene with the metamorph when he turns into Snape in the old
Yes,
dance.
pretty much.
Okay. I'm happy to do this little performance for you.
Good.
Works. And then in 6 days' time, I get to leave.
You can go wherever you please. I don't care. If my father has decided he still wants to marry that bag of blood, then he is welcome to do so. But the moment I saw you, such blatant display of reverence for our land, such casual approach to hiding your distaste for our species, I knew that you were perfect. My father will hate you with every fiber in his being, and I will be able to use that against him.
So you want me to behave like a normal Sejeti in Drakenmoore? That shouldn't be a problem.
I didn't think it would be. Now, there are a few things we will have to masquerade. First, and I am reluctant to do this, for the flavoring is going to be horrid. We will have to be seen together.
Right.
Oh no.
When
Hang
we
on.
do this, I want you to be as objectionable as you innately are.
You want me to drape myself over you?
Whatever you feel is natural to do in my presence, as if you were completely and utterly in love with my power.
Right. Okay, I'll try to do that.
No.
All right,
I'm
so
not
that's
very-
what you two start plotting out, how to upset Dadams.
Oh, I love it so much.
As he tries to manipulate his way into the whole situation. That's what's going on. The two of you, Jorek and Adressai, you're being accompanied straight out of the castle by the steward. He doesn't say anything.
Do we pass any areas that are sort of secluded or empty corridors or something like that?
There are corridors that branch off of this main corridor, obviously. When you look down them, sometimes you see people down there, sometimes you don't. It looks to be a fairly inactive courtly space.
I'm just going to drop my teleport anchor here, just in case,
All right.
while we walk.
I'm gonna sort of keep having my arcane eye, just as everything, just keep having it go downwards, because in Adversai's mind, sort of kidnapped damsels are in dank dungeons.
Not the highest tower.
No,
it's either
I think
or.
that's more Brenny fairy tales.
Yes, in Drakenmoore, we go underground.
We got dungeon.
Yes.
All right. So
No,
you're-
I think sort of horrible places in Cathar lands are sort of underground, horrible, damp and dark. So
catacombs, yes.
yes, I sort of go as far down.
No one got my joke. Well, Jonathan did. Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh,
Anyway,
God,
fine.
no,
We'll just move on. It's okay.
no, I got it now.
Wasted. It's fine.
I hate.
All right. Yeah, so you're going about your business.
I want to find dungeons.
You want to find dungeons. All right. That's what you're doing as
But
you
as-
escorted out.
As we're going to want to start, sir, were we going to broker a trade agreement about the Bloodwood?
Yeah, Ironwood.
Sorry, Ironwood. Yes.
Yes, we are, indeed. However, I have not yet received a message from our contact.
No. I mean, wouldn't there be possibly a steward here in the castle that one might speak to arrange something like that? I say sort of conspicuously loudly within earshot of this person guiding us.
Yeah, I snap at the servant. Do you have a castle steward that we could speak to? Because I am here on business. I wasn't expecting to do this business that I've done today, but, profit, cling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
There is the castle bailiff. Yes, of course, you can speak with him. If you want, I can make an arrangement for you to meet him.
That would be very good.
That will only be tomorrow. It is late.
All right.
Of course, you want to be.
But please do that. I wouldn't have wanted to go this entire way for nothing.
What name do I give him?
You can give him Ambar of Kotu.
Bless you.
Kotu.
Oh, it's a small village. You wouldn't know of it.
All right. He escorts you out. Con, you see the two of these. Well, Con and Atramentum, you both see these two being led out and then sort of left to go on their own devices once they're outside of the castle. The streets are slowly starting to get lamps lit, which Jorek, will burn until precisely 9 p.m. And then those lights will go out.
Curfew?
Will be. It's not necessarily a curfew. You don't have to be indoors at that time. It's just that the city goes pitch dark.
And you kind of want to be inside because the vampires aren't the only thing who wants your blood in Drakenmoore.
Yeah. So it's not an enforced curfew. It's just it goes dark. For most of the inhabitants, is a major
Antra's like, oh, cool.
dissuader. Yeah. It's like,
Nice.
Is it dark? I don't know.
I didn't notice.
Yep. All right. So the four of you meet up eventually, or are you still staying apart?
No, well, I'm waiting for them to come back out again, hoping
Yeah.
they come back out again.
They do.
Yes, we do.
See them.
Yeah, we find a secluded side street or something that we can meet up on.
Sure. Not a problem. People are starting to close up. It's getting cold now anyway as the night starts to set in. The fog seems to get wetter almost at night.
Before I drop my invisibility, I make sure that the bacteria are not watching.
Right.
You suspect the bacteria are not watching.
I managed to drop an eye off on the inside. I'm currently going through their cellars, I think.
Currently, you're at the...
Advertised this other time, like...
Walking into things.
Oh!
It's like around the pole.
I'm getting the
this
hang
is
of
real
it.
confusing.
It's a little disorienting, but I'm getting the hang of it.
You've got to the military level that Atramentum had got to.
Can I pause and sort of, because I only get visual information from this eye, but can I pause and sort of take a look at some of the reports or maps and see if I can figure out what's going on?
So you start to look at the maps. They are mustering troops for reasons known only to them. You're not entirely... you look at the map and you realize, oh, it's upside down. You kind of rotate the eye around a little bit as you try to realign your vision. And what you realize with perhaps trepidation, I don't know, it's up to you how you choose to interpret it, is that they are starting to form quite a large army, you think, by sort of looking at the
logistics reports,
the little figures, that have been sort of plopped around the entire area, and they are starting to form quite a large number of forces at the pass between Drakenmoore and Sejeti, as well as on the eastern coast. I'm just busy moving my map across to get to the name. But so they are
the druids, if it's north or if it's south.
So Vladivansk seems to be being quite heavily reinforced with troops. Vladivansk is the neighbor city of Akhaten in the Sejeti Empire.
That's an area I'm very familiar with.
Yes.
That's where I ran around crazy for 70 years.
Yay!
And on the west coast, my map is either zoomed in hugely or not at all.
Yeah, I'm having a problem.
So I've got to figure this one out. But in the Tetvansk forest area, in Ilyich Bay, there appears to be quite a large fleet being assembled.
Yeah. Yes, I think they're planning on invading the Sejeti Empire. I'm not quite sure, and I'll there's a lot of maps and troop deployment pictures and stuff, but I'm gonna keep looking.
That sounds really strange. What would the vampires want with the land of the sun?
Look, if they were not attacking anyone, they would probably be the only country right now that wasn't.
Fair enough. All right, that's interesting. Keep looking.
Think they are about to be attacked?
No, they're gathering troops at the southern pass and at the bay on the east coast, the Ilyich Bay. They're gathering a fleet, which is not what you gather if you think you're going to be attacked.
And the troops are in Vladivansk then?
Yes, Vladivansk.
Huh. I know that area pretty well.
But oh shit! No, I'm okay. Sorry, I'm gonna move on now. Someone was bringing a paper.
Oh. This wet slap suddenly. Whoa, what the hell was that?
Ew! Squish, 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 squish.
You continue down to the third level, and this area is very different from the military level above. In this area, there are lots of doors with bars in them. This is definitely feeling a lot more like a prison cell than anything else. Yeah. There is another stairs that goes further down, but on this level,
I would say it's a buffet, but it's just
yeah.
That's the fridge.
Do you explore this area, this level?
I want to check out all the cells. The eye does have dark vision.
By the way, Adresai, I touch my hand to the side of Adresai's head, and I transfer a memory of Miran, my sister.
Whoa.
So
It's
you know
really
exactly what she looks
confusing
like.
now.
All right.
Manage and then the-
3 images right now. So okay, thank you. That was all right. Nice.
That
Just
must
in
be
case you
fun.
see her somewhere.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, your eye lasts forever, so you start to do a thorough investigation of the space. What you detect down here is there are lots of. It doesn't strike you as vampire food because they're chained to tables. They're hanging by manacles from the walls. These look like prisoners, and the majority of them look to be Sejeti, except for 3 cells which contain 3. You have no idea what these things are. They look like plague-ridden, rotting things, and at first you think they're dead until they move.
They're former dogs.
Yeah, I was
and
thinking
they
that.
definitely look like they are hairless dogs or dogs that have got mange en masse.
Kind of like that thing that Con was talking about with those people.
Indeed. Some of the chambers have got men that are wearing these very black capes, black hoods and things, and they are very quietly asking questions of some of these Sejeti and some of these Wraith figures.
Yes.
Sometimes they cut a piece of flesh off. Sometimes they just stab a needle into the skin. Sometimes they don't do either of those things. They just ask the question.
Yes. With the feat that I took, observant, I also have lip reading. So is there anything interesting that they ask them about in specific?
Principally, the questions, and you're probably going to spend, so you've probably spent now about 30 minutes with this, by the way, just because of the thoroughness that you're going through.
Yeah.
So where are we heading while this happens?
I thought you were in an alleyway.
Yeah, we're not just standing there for half an hour and freezing our butts off, right?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, where are you heading?
Yeah, no, as I'm doing this, you would have continued the scene.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm still invisible at this point.
correct.
Okay, so you haven't revealed yourself. All right.
Back
So,
to the inn is probably the only real option.
Yes.
yeah.
Range limitations, but there's a lot of disturbing things I'm seeing that I'd like to tell you all about in great detail.
This one eye just goes like...
And then the foot
This is the
starts
one to
swinging
follow.
left in the air as she starts to lean out. You're like, no, hold it by the arms and take it.
I'm fine. This is my body. The other one is my ghost body.
And
They
then
don't
you
speak.
try and float up some stairs and
Yes.
forget you have action. Ow!
Ow!
Yeah, so there's this general kind of noise going on. Now,
Magic
as you are moving towards the inn, you eventually arrive at the inn. Who's going in first?
Con, why don't you go in first and we'll join you in a couple of minutes.
All right, Con, as you step in, there's 2 people wearing black robes sitting at one of the tables. They watch you as you walk in, and they don't seem to pay you any attention at all.
I find the seat at the bar, back against the wall so that I can drink my drink and watch the room.
All right, you certainly do that.
He's doing the Aragorn thing.
He's
Nursing his drink in a corner.
Jorek, you walk in holding up Adrasai. The moment you walk in,
I can walk on my own.
Yes, you can. As you are now trying to lip read whilst walk at the same time.
I'm very smart. I can multitask.
I don't have any doubt about the multitasking of lip reading and concentrating on the spell. It's the feat that's the problem in reality.
I have that feat. Thank you very much.
Nonetheless, as you walk in, Jorek, the 2 men in black stand up. And if the temperature in the room was, say, 12 degrees Celsius, suddenly it feels as if it's 3 degrees Celsius.
Can I intervene here for a second?
Sure.
I would have gotten in with Con, right? A little bit earlier.
If you want to. Yeah. Well, by a little bit earlier, you mean 3 steps earlier.
Well, depending on how long they wait, right? But yeah. So I would be interested in these black cloaked figures
Sure.
going kind of close to them. Are they speaking at all with each other?
They're not. They have 2 drinks in front of them, which look as if they have not been touched for the last hour or so. They are just sitting.
Taking a look. Do they have pouches? Do they have like...
They have, well, that's the curious thing. They have a rather large satchel at their side, if it could contain documentation and the like. And they wear black gloves, so you can't see their skin. The hoods are quite deep. They're definitely human, though, underneath. Or one's human, one's elf.
Yeah, I take a look at the...
One of them's like, God, do you smell that? It smells like, I don't know what it smells. It smells like my wife.
The sun just came in, right?
Yeah. Anyway. They on the other sides they have a single dagger each, and then each one of them has a bell.
Okay. And this pouch. How big is this pouch?
The satchel.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, satchel. Yeah.
The satchel looks as if it's about a foot by a foot, give or take.
Like a book size.
Book size, yeah, pretty decent.
How is it fastened on the belt?
It has 2 leather straps on the back, which have the belt has been fed through those 2.
So I'll get out my dagger, and as the others come in and get their attention, I will try to cut the leather wraps or whatever it fastens on the
belt itself.
On the belt, and I'll take it.
All right.
if successful. You want a sleight of hand or stealth?
Sleight of hand, sorry.
Okay. With advantage or without?
I don't know if invisibility gives you advantage with what you're trying to do. They can't see.
If nothing else, that the distraction of us showing up might be.
Yeah, I will give you with advantage. They're not expecting anyone to do this.
That's the difference. That's why I asked. With advantage, it's 16. Without, less.
Well, my 8 and 2 completely fail. So you managed to cut that and catch it before it drops down to the ground.
Right. I have 3 hands, right?
Yeah.
Hand and
tail.
Yeah.
And
so
once I have it, it gets in my possession. So
yes.
Poof. Gone.
Absolutely. All right. So they step up and they start coming towards you, Jorek. The barman kind of looks from them to you, back to the men approaching.
Okay, so before we do this, but there's one thing we should talk about rules-wise.
Yeah.
I only do this if this doesn't break my invisibility.
Yeah.
That's your call, because is it an action that's aggressive in any kind? It's not a spell, right? So it doesn't break it like this. It's your decision. Like, you could argue that it would, and then obviously I would know this and I wouldn't do this, but... Sure. I just wanted to bring it up because that's something that could be argued. And I wouldn't do this if I just like, hi!
Oh, hi.
Yes. What are you thinking?
I personally, I think it's fine, but it's edge. It's an edge case for sure, right? So it's your decision.
I would have allowed it personally.
Yeah, but it's your decision. I just wanted to bring it up before any.
It's not like you're using a knife in an aggressive way.
Are you talking about cutting off the
yes.
pouch?
The pouch.
Yes.
Oh no! I don't think it breaks it. I thought about it temporarily, but I'm like, it isn't an attack. It's not.
Yeah, because you can open doors, and if this is more like an opening door, But I just wanted to bring it up before.
Got you. Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah. All right. So yes, they step up to Jorek and they say, "Are you Umber of Kotu?"
Ambar of Kotu, yes.
You will come with us. We have questions.
All right. Ask your questions.
They gestured to the door. We prefer to ask them in our own environment, if you please.
I am not a Drakenmoorian citizen. I do not...
That's correct. You will be coming of your own free will.
I see. Fine.
Do you want me to?
Lead the way.
So
should I stay or?
Yes, you can stay.
Thank you.
Adversai has a lot of books on her body, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I have a big sort of book bag.
Yeah, it's a little bit heavier.
Should I come? Ah!
I don't know. I'm just happy. But what I mean is not I sit in it.
Yeah.
What I mean is that
There's this tiefling in the back.
Momentum hiding.
the tail just like outside.
It's my pet. He doesn't like.
No, what I mean
Right.
is that I would go past her, and I mean, I can, like, I'm not too worried if she kind of notices that something is happening, but I want to place this item there because
I can roll to see if I notice.
I'm gonna follow them.
Yeah.
Sure. Makes sense.
Should I make a roll to see if I
No, it
notice
doesn't
it
matter.
at all?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know if I know if.
Oh, sure. No,
What
make a perception check.
plant?
Yeah. It's not.
I mean, I don't necessarily try
Oh,
to be super stealthy
Yeah.
about it.
23 either way. So.
Yeah, you.
But it was the
You kind of
dagger
look
or what?
down
It
as
was?
you-
No, the satchel.
Like,
Yeah, true. Actually,
pictures in the head.
What exactly did you put in my bag? Just to.
The satchel.
That satchel that
Oh,
I
their
saw.
satchel.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
yeah, lovely black leather satchel. Sekhet, you are.
But before we leave the room, by the way, I'm just going to send a message to Adressai as we walk out.
Help!
That's all. No, if I'm not back within an hour, come find me.
Your sending message. Does it have a verbal component or a
No.
sound component?
It's a completely telepathic thing.
completely telepathic. All right.
It's because he's cheetah class.
Yes.
All right. Sekhet, you have been shown out of Luca's presence. He turns and he says, "Your first performance will be later on this evening.
Mhm.
Father is planning on telling us what he wants us to do during Tomadansk. I will introduce you to the family then."
And how long have we been dating?
This is why it's good to have you here. Your deceptive little mind thinks of everything.
Love at first sight.
Oh. In the end, he realizes that blood isn't everything, and they fall.
No.
And she stabs him. Stab.
I've recently been to Valdivansk. You maybe were based in Akhaten.
Right. Okay. And that was how long ago?
Time has no meaning, really. It was probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Right. And okay, we've managed to keep our lovely relationship hidden until then because it was only recently you decided that you had to marry me.
No, he will read your mind.
Oh no.
Where have you been in the last 3 weeks?
All over the place.
Well, it's funny you should ask that.
You know all these places that exploded recently?
those places.
I may have been in Valenhold recently dealing with a dragon problem. Mm-hmm.
There is no way we would have met in Valenhold.
No. And then prior to that,
After that.
I was on a boat dealing with some other obnoxious captains. And then prior to that,
Loken?
Elflands?
Loken Castle?
Braxia. I was in Braxia.
Braxia. Good.
Nice.
You're in Braxia now.
You're in Braxia now. I don't know. Wait, what were we doing?
Brenya Kingdoms. And before
Branny,
that,
that's it.
Valenhold,
Brunei
Loken,
Kingdom
Queflin.
doing,
That's where it was.
Queflin.
But don't do those. We were in Holylock, right? No, in
Been everywhere recently.
Gyron Ghent.
Yeah.
How do
Gyron
you
Ghent.
move around so much?
Because I like seeing the world. We were rescuing a druid called the bushy-tailed one.
Druids? That is even less likely to be found here than the bloody Valenhold.
Okay, let's
Not
change
druids.
that particular. I mean, it was fun, but he was rather boring. Well, I've also been stuck on a boat for 3 weeks.
Not likely there either. Yeah.
I think the best option is the whole trading in the Brunei Kingdom thing.
No one believes you are traders.
Well,
Make giant pink dome and swamp. What is that? That is.
I like the color pink. Okay.
Yes, you like color pink. My sisters will see through that in a moment. No. Easiest way. In the swamp, you cast witch spell upon me. You steal my heart by me seeing you straight so beautiful in the middle of all this death and decay. Huh?
Okay, yeah, because yeah. All
My
right.
love
Okay.
has overflown me like a pack of rabid rats on a corpse in the middle of winter. I am
Lovely.
yours to do with as you wish. There we go. You obviously have fallen in love with me because why wouldn't you?
Obviously.
Well, duh.
Okay. So I have cast a love spell on you because I'm attracted to power.
Of course you are. You're from Sejeti. It's perfect. Father will never suspect a thing. But Svetlanaski is a problem. She does not trust your horned companion.
Well, I don't trust him either.
Will he keep her busy, you think?
I'm sure if you ask him nicely, yes.
No, I don't deal with that. No. You don't worry. Svetlanaski will either eat them or she'll get bored and move on. But you should not antagonize her. Of all the people in the guest, do not antagonize her.
Okay, not antagonize the vampire bitch.
Beautiful one.
Svetlanaski. You will recognize her. She is more beautiful than you. It is.
Okay.
No. He shouts out, Misha! This is my new bride. Show her to her apartments. Get her whatever she wants. She has stolen my heart, and I wish to be with her for all eternity.
He's a terrible actor.
Did he just give her a credit card without limit? Yes.
Awesome.
So Misha looks at you. Misha is he's probably a 16, 17-year-old young Drakenmoorian. He bows lowly to Lord Luca, waiting for Luca to kind of recline back on a chair with a mirror and work, it says, and he throws it against the wall. He wishes he could see himself in his own reflection. He then sort of guides you out and doesn't say a word to you, just very quietly. Every now and again, he sort of indicates left or right, but he takes you upstairs until eventually you get to this spectacularly large bedroom with maids frantically running around, busy lighting fires. The room is very, very cold. But as they're lighting up the fires, they're busy lighting all candles and really trying to get the room to be nice and airy. They kind of look over at you. You don't have to make any insight checks because some of them look at you with pitying eyes. Some have looked at you with envy. There's two old ones that give you that look of, you sluttish little cretin. I hope he sucks you dry and leaves your husk on the side of the road kind of look. It's a very specific look that old.
It's one of those Lieutenant Ty looks.
Yeah, Lieutenant Ty has that look every now and again.
Very descriptive.
He stays while looking at me.
So yes, that's the sort of the look that they give you. Misha almost whispers to the point that you can't hear him that if you need anything, I will bring for you. You just ask Misha. And
I want to see the sun.
Please.
It's just Luca mentioned that it would be a double wedding, and I'm just wondering who the other girl is exactly.
Yeah.
Well played.
That would be Duke von Kier's wife to be.
And would you like to come for afternoon tea? I feel if we're going to have a double wedding, we should coordinate outfits.
Nice.
I will pass the message on to her household, and I will bring a reply as soon as I can.
Good, because it'd be terrible if we clashed.
All for the same dress.
Yeah, that would be even worse.
He sort of nods. Maids sort of buzz around you, and they have turned down the bed slightly, and Misha then comes to you. Do you want anything to eat before you join Lord Luca later?
Oh God, yes. I want some macaroons and some of those little sandwiches with cucumber in them with no crusts on them, and I would like some, but the macaroons have to be pistachio flavored.
No green M&Ms.
And and I would like a decent cup of tea.
You're so British.
Is that all?
I think also in the tea, could you put a very large dose of vodka in it?
Yes. And then finally, Lord Luca did not instruct us as to how we should address you. Is there a particular protocol that you would like to observe?
Lady Sejeti. No, Lady, no. Let's just go with Lady Sekhet. I can't think of anything more pretentious right now.
As you say, Lady Sekhet.
Lady of the Dunes.
As he turns, he starts walking out the room and he shouts, Mrs. Potts, we need everything. And he closes the door behind him as he goes running out to go and sort out your festive. Khan, Adresai, what are the two of you doing now that it's just the two of you and the barkeeper left?
I'm going to sort of steal a glance into my bag, sort of leafing through papers and figuring out what the fuck was just placed in there.
All right.
What, there's just us two and the bartender?
Yes.
Then I lean over to the bartender and I go, so who were those two shady characters then?
Kajaba.
I'm not familiar with the term.
They are they are secret police, I think you would call them.
Oh dear.
Your friend is not in trouble muchly. It's just that they have questions. He's not like you.
Uh-huh. That much is true.
That makes Kachaba interesting. Interested in him.
Fascinating. Secret police, eh? That's good. I'll have another drink, thank you.
Judd or imported beer?
You have imported beer?
Yes, he says. And he pulls out this shining brown bottle. It's been polished recently. And he places it very neatly on the counter. It's still got the cork in the top, plus the wax seal over it. And it is definitely a Brunei brown ale.
I'm German and I'm offended.
Fancy finding you here. I look at the bottle lovingly.
Old friend. Once I realized.
Your tab, don't worry. Yes, Adresai.
Sorry. I get so excited. Now, once I realize that there's something else in my bag, I'm going to sort of turn and head upstairs. Just in case, I'm going to sort of keep the doors open a second longer than they need to, just in case of invisible people. But, never know. There's a lot of invisibility going on in this group.
Yes.
And I just sort of, pushing it open and sort of letting it slide shut on its own. And then I'll go back to our room.
All right. So your eye has by now run out of juice. You were kind of gathering the last sort of fragments that you got before Jorek was sort of led away and everything kind of was happening. The last few fragments that you got, there was only one question that struck you as odd. The rest were things like, what is the color on the ceiling? And then you dutifully looked up to the ceiling and you'd see that there's like a splash of blue paint. And
there are 4 lights.
Well, exactly right. No, exactly right. So that's one of the techniques of breaking a mind, is asking a question to which there's a simple answer and then saying no. That's not correct. It's not blue. It's red. So that's what they're doing. Except there was one, a Sejeti, where the question that was asked was, when are they planning on attacking? To which the Sejeti kind of spat back and was rewarded by having a very long, very thin needle slowly inserted between his 3rd and 4th rib, but too much to hit the heart. So it's just punctured his lung, which will leave him gasping for air for a couple of days.
Right. I'm going to recast it as soon as it runs out, and I'm going to send the new one to try to catch up with and follow Jorek.
All right. At Trementum, meantime,
just throw it out the window.
They are walking with you down the street. The one who's been talking to, he says, "Do not worry. You are not in trouble. This is for your own safety."
Yes. Let's just get this over with.
Did you play the blood text yet?
They lead you.
Actually, Jorek's gonna raise that question. So, how much is this going to cost me?
You have been in Drakenmoore before. We know this.
Yes, it happens.
We will answer.
Let's be honest. No one really enjoys going here on trade, but it is very profitable. So I can't stay away. You see, I can even trying to learn your way of speaking.
So unnoticed. He leads you into this very small office. It's very grubby, very dingy, low light everywhere. He leads you past a counter. There's 2 huge men sitting there with heavy sort of it's gone under my head. Brigantine armor. They're wearing brigantine armor. Sorry, that was the word. Heavy brigantine armor. Sort of watch you as you file past. One of them makes a little note on a pad in front of him, and they lead.
This is this stick figure walking past compared to them.
And it's at this point, Atra, that you're going to have difficulty following them. You can get into the small space, not too much of a problem. But beyond these 2 heavy guards, the passageway gets very narrow, and there's just these 2 metal doors on the left and the right side. Well, next to each other, one on the left, one on the right. They go through the one on the left.
So it's a double door, or what is it?
No, sorry. So think of it as the corridor. It's got 2 doors, one next to each other. They're next to each other. I described it incorrectly. When you're facing them, there's one on the left, there's one on the right, but they're on the same wall.
Okay, so 2 different rooms behind.
2 different rooms behind, yes. So they lead Jorek into the one with this metal door, but because of the way that there's the passage, the door opens into the passage. You're going to have to be very dexterous if you want to get into that room.
So they want to get in the same room as he, or
yeah,
they
they're
want
going
to
into the same room as him. Yeah.
How dexterous?
You're trying to squeeze in between 3 men going through a fairly narrow door in the same corridor that's only 5 foot wide. So
I mean, the problem is not the corridor, but getting through the door as well, right?
Correct, because they open the door and then they're closing it behind them. So there's...
Would I be able to... Okay, one after another.
Yeah.
What is on the other side of the door? Can I see that?
Yes, a simple metal table and 3 chairs.
So interrogation room, basically.
Very much so.
How heavy is this door?
It's a fairly robust metal door.
But there's probably the lock's probably on the outside.
Yes.
Makes sense with an interrogation room,
And
right?
you notice that there is also a hook on the other side so that you could put a beam across this door.
On the
and
outside.
prevent it from opening. Correct.
Okay. And I assume since this is medieval craftsmanship, there will be like on the bottom, so the voice will carry. So I would be able to hear what's going on inside?
To a degree, yes.
Cool, I'm staying outside.
All right. They lead you into this very small room and offer you a seat.
I sit down.
Sekhet, at the same time, this is now probably about an hour later, trays of macaroons and tea and little cakes, and there's some things that are very black in color that have got like this jam inside of them. Do you try any of those?
No.
Okay. Yeah, and it's immaculate. It's absolutely beautifully made. Little bit off in flavor, maybe a little bit heavy-handed on the honey in some cases. The rose water might have been a little bit too much here and there. But fresh. Eventually the doors open and Misha is standing there, and he looks very demurely at the floor, and he says, "Would you please come with me, Lady Sekhet? Dinner is about to start."
Dinner. Oh, okay. What's on the menu for dinner? Other than people.
Oh, you don't know then.
Well, I'm not on the menu, am I?
No.
Okay. All right, we'll go down for dinner then. Would I meet this other woman thing?
You will most likely meet Lady Miran, yes.
Lady Miriam. Miriam. Okay.
Why is everyone having such trouble with this name? It's Miran. How hard is
Miran. Lady Miran. Okay.
I don't know why I said Miriam. I've only got one eye in here as well. It's like, I can't Miran. Sorry, Lady Miran.
Okay.
All right. So you go down into this magnificent dining hall. This table is easily 80 foot in length, and you are sort of shown to one side of it. There are the two Svetlanaski and Natashasky are standing looking at you with sort of distaste. Luca drifts in, and there you are, my favorite light of lights. I am so pleased to see you, he says as he drifts over to you, wraps his arms around you, and then proceeds to try and kiss you.
I try and reciprocate as much as possible with the draping and allowing kissing on face.
Yes.
One leg up.
Yes. The difficulty is fairly certain that whoever taught him how to kiss said, "Go for the throat," and so that's where he's trying to get his tongue. Nonetheless, that's what's happening while his two sisters are looking at them like, "Oh my God, Luca, what the hell are you doing? You do not kiss your food." And he comes up for air briefly and says,
Quick taste.
"Be my bride." At which point the two sisters just start laughing. One of them's like, "You're so crazy, Luca. Father is going to rip her head off when he sees her. He's not going to let you marry that." As they sort of looking you up and down as one might look at a rather cheap, tacky Chinese-made product, except for the not cheap and tacky Chinese-made products, as they go about.
I'm confused.
They're bits and bobs. Back to you, Jorek. Just very quickly, the two sit opposite to you, and one of them goes for his bag.
Whoops.
Did my eye catch up, by the way? Did I manage to follow them in?
Yes, you're moving at 30 feet around, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually wouldn't have caught up just yet. It's still on its way.
Yeah. Now, I mean, if I lose them, I wouldn't necessarily know. But then again, I know where their offices are. So I think that when I come in and I realize I probably know where he is, I wanted to switch around. And since I only have one more use of this today, I wanted to start looking for Sekhet or Jorek's sister sort of elsewhere.
So you're going back to the castle?
Weren't they going to the castle?
Nope.
They're going to
Local officers.
KGB
So,
headquarters.
so you sort of lost them,
right.
basically.
Right.
Stasi, not KGB. Stasi.
Oh, I was way off then. No,
Kajaba.
then I loosed them in the city in that case,
Yeah.
and
then-
I head towards Gustin instead in that case.
All right.
Kajaba, KGB.
No.
Oh, I see what you did there.
All right. So the one is looking for his bag. The other one looks over. Where is your bag, Sasha? The one looks back and sort of goes, no names. With
I notes down, Sasha.
We talked about this.
And it says, it must have come loose. No matter. I remember what was written down. So, he says, they both kind of put back on this veneer of control. Mr. Kotu, you have been in Drakenmoore before. Yes, we know this. The way you drink Jad is too local for someone who's only been here once or twice. You claim to be a ironwood seller, yes?
Well, not around here. I only buy it here.
Yes. That raises
He comes into this desert with a sack full of sand. Just like,
I want to know, why did you come to Ulkov specifically? There are many traders along the coast that will sell ironwood. Why here specifically?
Well, my usual romping grounds is around Teltana. Because they have a port, and they have plenty of ironwood to sell. The thing is that the traders in the port cities, they have caught on. Ironwood is very popular, so the prices are going up. My plan was to find a city further in, and that normally wouldn't sell as much ironwood to outsiders, but perhaps just transport it around and get better prices. That was my goal. Unfortunately, my businesses in the Brenya kingdoms didn't go very well, so I didn't get any bronze or copper to bring with me to trade with, so I'm stuck with all the gold.
I only have silver.
Yeah, plenty of silver.
You are trying to cut out the middleman.
Yes. That was the plan anyway. But unfortunately, I lost my best advantage when it comes to trading, unfortunately. But yes.
Oops.
Yeah, the boobs.
How did you get lost in the swamp?
I blame my servant Rohan for that. They claimed they could navigate us through the night and get us to Ulkov. And I thought that it's just a trade route. That would be easy. But unfortunately, we ended up far out into the Musha bogs. And it was cold and it was wet, so I had my servant protect us.
I have one last question.
Yes.
Who is the man that you met in the bar this evening? We have no record of him entering Ulkov.
That I met in the bar?
Yes.
I didn't meet anyone in the bar. Well, I met you.
You were going to sit next to this one. He walked in just before you. You couldn't have missed him.
Oh, the man in the corner.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Why? I was not going to sit with him. I was going inside, and you caught up with me and stopped me inside the door. He's a patron, for all I know.
Shh. You mean to tell me that it is just pure coincidence that not one but 3 traitors arrive in our city?
Hey, I'm not a traitor.
You're a traitor.
He doesn't know his notes. He's flying.
It's difficult in Drakenmoore. It sounds the same.
In the same day, 3 strangers arrive in our city.
Well, my party was 3 people. It was me, my accountant, and my slave.
Talking about the horned one.
Oh, that guy.
And also the other stranger.
All right. Yeah, the horned one is. He claims he's from Sejeti and he knows the Duke von Kiel. He stayed the night in our camp. That's all I know. Because we felt it was a little bit unfair to leave him outside now that we were in the same place. I have no idea what he was doing in the swamp. Trust me, I had no idea what we were doing in the swamp to begin with. So you'll have to ask him. He didn't tell us much, actually, now that I think of it. But he did mention that he was going to see the Duke von Kiel. Some wedding, I think it was. I don't know. Anyway, what was your question again?
If you wish to remain in good stead so that you might cut out these middlemen that you wish to exclude from making profits.
If it works.
Well advised to make sure that the Kajuba is on your side.
Of course. I have
Find out who the stranger is in our town. Meet with us tomorrow for a light lunch down by the river, well, the bridge next to the pond. We'll talk.
The duck pond. You're going to stand there, feed the ducks.
the bridge.
Undead ducks.
Yes.
The bridge
the
next
trees.
to the pond, you said?
You can't miss it. We only have one pond.
Meet with the
bridge.
By the pond. By the bridge, by the pond, yes. And you are speaking about the man in the tavern, I suppose? Not the horned one, because I don't know anything about the horned one. And quite frankly, anything he says is probably a lie anyway. He's a tiefling.
Hey!
That's perfect! Is that so? He is a known liar. I will make notes. I must go
It's
back
a
to the
tiefling.
tavern.
Oh, I
All right,
forgot.
we
You
will
don't
take
you
you
don't
back
get
to
out
the
much.
tavern.
Tieflings always lie. That's just the case. You should know that.
There's this famous quandary. You come to a crossing. There's one tiefling standing. And you need to know the right way.
Yes. You have one question before he kills you.
All right, so that's what you're hearing through the door as well. That Trementum, this whole sort of thing going down. It's they don't sort of have any further questions, so they'll take you back to the inn unless you want to stop them.
No, I say it was a pleasure to meet you, and I stretch out my hand and shake the hand of Sasha.
Yes, Sasha shakes your hand as well, and
He gets 5 gold.
And with the skill of a practiced individual, by the time you finish shaking his hand, there are no coins in his palm.
Bribey.
A mage.
It is all gone. Sekhet, you are sitting in the dining room. I will be coming back to the rest of you, Jorek and Khan and Adversary as soon as I can. But Sekhet, you are in eventually Luca kind of lets you up for some air and sort of takes you. And being ushered into the room, looking a little bit worse for wear. She's got a black eye, she's got a split lip, there's redness around her skin where she's been forced, and sort of roughhoused is this young female who's brought in, and she sort of gets unceremoniously dropped into a chair, at which point Natashasky looks over at her and goes, I don't know why you fight it. You're never going to win. Your only option is death, and he will not let you die, you dumb cow. Just accept your fate. Stop fighting. At which point the disheveled one sort of just glares at the table and says nothing.
Is this Lady Miran?
Luca looks over at you. For now, yes, she is.
Well, then she's definitely going to have to wear green.
What?
Well, I mean, she's got red splodges all over her. The only way you're going to disguise those is with a green dress.
I'm already having headaches.
Astrid just gets a blinding headache.
That's fine. I'm planning on
Luca
wearing.
just kind of gets this glazed look over his eye, and you hear from the two women. Svetlanaski looks at you and she says, "Green."
Green. It's a very good way of hiding red
Yes, of course.
splodges.
Yes. I'm surprised that someone of your breeding even knows that.
I know quite a lot of things. Can I sit next to Lady Miran? Because I don't want us to clash at our wedding, you see. And I'm clearly going to have to plan things and coordinate with her, poor dejected-looking thing.
Svetlanaski sort of says, ignore her, she's a lost case. Sit here next to me. I want to get to know you a little bit better. You see, I've been having this idea of going to Plum.
Plum?
A thematic color, yes. And having someone with a good eye, I was thinking maybe we might talk.
Plum would be marvellous. I mean, it'd hide the bloodstains beautifully of your victim.
What are you doing, says... Why are you talking to... Oh, my future wife.
A pro.
The girls don't care. They just carry on. They start. The other one sits down next to you as well and says,
Oh,
interesting thought. I don't really have a problem with blood. It's more the scratch marks. But as they're about to start talking about different shades of leather and
Grey.
the doors are pushed open, and this very regal, elderly sort of man drifts in. He's got the perfectly windswept grey hair, sideburns to highlight his cheekbones, which go on forever, and end in this jaw that would just crack open ice blocks as he walks into the room. Everyone kind of goes quiet. Immediately all the vampires stand and sort of lower their heads. Miran does not. She just sits there looking like a broken woman. What do you do, Sekhet?
I kind of look at the vampires standing up and dropping their heads and like immediately imitate what they're doing.
He sweeps in and he sits down, sort of flashing out his coattails behind him as he sits at the head of the table. And he looks at everybody and he has this great big smile over these very red lips. And he says, Luca, why is there a Sejeti at my table? And we'll be back next week when the adventure of Windswift continues. Not exactly a cliffhanger of note, I suppose, but does purple really cover blood?
Please leave it in the message section, which I will not read.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you for watching. If you don't stay with us for the review, so long, farewell, and we'll see you again next week. All right. So review. There we go. Number 3, Jorek. You're up first.
Well, it was fantastic today, I must say. actually was really fun. It was a lot more fun than I expected it to be. I was expecting it to be more fun in the exciting kind of way, but this was a lot of fun, all of it,
Right.
because all of the sneaking and all of the interacting with this crazy nation. I figured when the KGB, the
KGB.
KGB showed up that it wasn't going to be, I'm found out they're going to kill me. So I just went along with it because I wanted to know, where are you as a GM going with this? And Jorek, knowing that there's no way to fight your way out of this, he could, or he could have just left, but that will raise more alarm than trying to find out what do they really know about us? What do they want to know? Because the questions they ask is kind of an indication of what do they know.
Mm.
So that was great fun. I highly enjoyed Sekhet's interaction with with the vampire nobles. That was great. So, and an interesting new spell from other side that'll come in handy.
Absolutely, especially with the combination.
And even though I don't know this in game, I know out of game. Thank you, Simon, for having my back.
Yeah. Right up until you push them under a bus, tieflings lie.
Yeah. It's all a game.
It is all a game, yeah. Actually, speaking of all a game, poor old Sasha lost so many credibility points when his satchel was gone. That tremendous. What was your thinking behind that? What's
the bag? It's similar to okay, let me start from the beginning. I'll get to the bag. So first of all, this was an wholly enjoyable session for me. Absolutely. I particularly enjoyed the interrogation with the KGB because that was just fun to listen to, because I also would have said very similar things, which is always interesting and nice to kind of see, I think. And you as a dungeon master caught me off guard with the vampire nobility. I thought there was going to be a different play.
Mm.
But this works also as well. The only thing that I'm super surprised of is that they don't use their charm ability much more frequently, apparently. That is something that I would have absolutely wholly expected to be most of them just being enthralled. Their victims being enthralled, their interrogations going through with charms, just like, no, because that seems so much easier to me. But that's something that surprised me. Maybe they're just cruel. That can obviously also be just like they're having fun with it, right?
It's also the problem of most of their prisoners being Sejeti, and Sejeti are
elves, sure, yeah, of course. But like, that's just something that I was surprised by, that didn't play a bigger role with what we saw. All three of us who were inside. Well, 2.5, I guess. So yeah, it was completely enjoyable. Everybody did. I guess Con didn't do much this week, more last week, but like I think everybody played his part very well. We got tons of information. Everybody had like cool ideas. I really liked the idea about we absolutely need to coordinate for the wedding. So that felt great.
That was fantastic.
I was like, that's just like, I wouldn't have come up with this. That's a woman idea. It's great. Just great.
Perfect.
Honestly, that's just like, that's just the angle. That's just perfect. It was great. I really liked that. Aside from that, I mean, I enjoy these masquerades and these kind of information warfare, I would say. I mean, one of the things as a player I was very aware of to get into these kinds of things is that if I wanted, like, these scout things, when you kind of are alone up ahead and kind of scout things out, can be very, depending on how you play it, can be very time consuming. And that is something that I was aware of. That's why I said, like, okay, I'm being careful, yada, yada, yada. I'm looking for obviously standoutish things. So you could cut to the chase, so to say, right? Because this is like an enormous building and going from room to room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So that's kind of
another bedroom. It's another bedroom. It's a dining hall.
It's a dancing room. Like,
exactly. Exactly.
It's a study. It's like, whatever. I don't care. Like, tell me the things that are actually of import, right?
Yes.
So that's something that I mean, it can be enjoyable, but I think in this case, since there's not real, like if in a different circumstances can be interesting because there's more tension. There was no just the tension that I could get like found out. That was really the only thing that could have happened. So I thought, well, let's try to keep it short, keep it simple, and cut to the information that are actually tangible.
Yeah.
And now finally getting to your bag, very similar thoughts to Tobias, getting information any way possible, really. Just like, I don't know what's going to happen there. Better see if he can, like what he tells them, what they ask him, if I need to intervene in anything, but also get as much information as I can. And just like being there, being invisible gives you so many more choices if you rule things like the way you did, obviously. So the possibility, similar to what I did before meeting up or posing as the rider, the wagon rider, just spreading your webs and just like try to find out whatever you find out. I mean, I don't know what I found or what, I guess, others I found yet, but it will be something. And even if it's just nothing, it's just like there was very small downside to it. Absolutely. Because of the circumstance. So
correct. Yeah. Sekhet.
Well, yeah, that was fun. I'm glad I didn't have to have, Sekhet flashing her boobs at anyone to get offended. That's great. And I'm glad everyone liked what I thought was blatantly obvious.
One has to color coordinate.
Well, yeah, one has to. What? None of you planned a wedding before? No, wait.
No. What is color coordinate? We wear black suit. The only thing we color coordinate is the tie and the shoes.
Okay, well, So, yeah, I guess previous life experience tells me that one needs to coordinate at a wedding. Anyhow, so it was a fun episode, and I'm going to totally keep making it fun in the next one.
I'm very fearful of what you're going to do.
Well, Lucas' sisters are all going to be in Burgundy, clearly. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it was fun. It definitely didn't go the way I was expecting it to go. I was expecting terror and having to teleport out of there as soon as I possibly could, find either Miran or they had found Miran and we were getting out of there. But so very different from what I was expecting. So we could be stuck here for some time, I feel, but we'll make a plan.
Let's see.
Yeah, it initially did feel like if we leave Sekhet there, it's going to end now. So it was nice to get more time to play with this.
Yeah. I think it's for the better overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adressai?
Good plot.
Oh.
Yes. So much fun. I think I was just laughing the whole 2 hours. Yeah, I was just having so much fun with this. Again, just the wonderful NPCs. And I was so distracted by the twist of the sort of rebellious vampire son who wanted to shame his father that I completely forgot about Arcane Eye. And I'm just oh shit, I can do a thing. Oh, no, that was before, but I was distracted by just so many fun things happening, and it's just, I don't know, it just feels like everybody's really falling into their character right now, and Sekhet is being shoved into social situations that she's not comfortable with, readying her fire spells, which is what her character does worst, and then everybody else is sort of in their element, so to speak, which is why I was really, really happy that I found Arcane Eye, which is because I think that is very much, it fits Adressai much, much better than sort of trailing along and trying to not get killed. Just sort of sit at the tavern with papers and bags of gold going through all of the info, being Bosley or whatever, and then just sending out arcane tendrils, finding things out. And I just feel suddenly like I've found Adressai, and I've found Adressai's method of being helpful. with this spell and with this combination of I felt like I was like the worst kind of min-maxer when I figured out the lip reading arcane eye combination. I was really proud of that.
That's brilliant.
That's good.
Now, I enjoyed this session so much, and I'm looking forward so much to continuing, and I can't wait another week.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Con, not a very active episode for you, sadly. But,
Well, no, more or less deliberately, I guess. But it was also an episode, not so much of Con doing things as Con not doing things, like not striking the 2 KGB guys down with lightning when they tried to walk off with my friend, that sort of thing. So I was restrained.
a restrained episode. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I very much enjoy the texture of this, which I think is a comment on the GMing, like that we get pulled into different aspects of the life. It's, there can be a danger, I think, of locations and settings becoming a bit of a cardboard cutout background that the party charges through, blowing shit up and killing things.
Wasn't that our plan?
Yeah, at least we get to know the people and the sites first.
Oh, this is nice. Let's blow it up.
You know what I mean? Like, we could have just tried to done a sort of covert operations, infiltrate, locate, extract, kill anything that gets in our way. And all of Drakenmoore would have been this sort of backdrop, really. But instead, we've got culture, we've got weird idiosyncrasies, we've got weird little, slightly scary, torturing, secret policey people, but, there's an edge of humor to it, which is, I think, fun all the time. But it's more of a textured, immersive experience than just sort of break in, rescue the girl, and run away again. So
Gotcha.
I've been enjoying that.
No, good. Yeah, I this particular episode, the Dukes, there's 2 ways to look at it. One, we could have gone with the everyone's just evil and dark, and it's going to be a fighting sort of situation, really. But also, I look at it, and this sort of answers a question that you raised as well, Simon, about the charm spell, is that here is a nation that is so inwardly focused and so paranoid about everything that its own people are willing to hand each other over, that I think that, yes, they have the capacity to use charm. Certainly the vampires do. But it's almost like they've forgotten that they need to use it. There's an assumption that just everyone is so broken and just it's so ingrained that they don't really need to use it. So yes, it is a bit odd. It's just that it's sort of something that I've noticed, is that there's like this herd mentality that one just does the right thing because does the thing because that's what's sort of been ingrained into you.
Yes, and it's also the thing that if you do something good for the Kajaba,
yes,
and then you don't end up in the lottery later. So everyone is looking out for themselves. So you really don't need charm because everyone is so eager to tell you.
That's the thing, and I hate to say it, but it's based on what I've observed in Japan. Is that there's this very central idea of we all work together because that's what we're supposed to do. We're doing it for ourselves individually, but we still all work together, and we do the right thing because, again, that's the way that the society works. And there's just a blind eye that's turned to negative things. I mean, the same growing up in old-fashioned South Africa is the same sort of idea. So anyway, I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the environment. I was hoping that it wasn't getting a little bit too boring with all of the sort of the stuff. And
I think the opposite. I think the opposite is true, honestly, because I think this goes from both directions, obviously. Like, we could have also approached it differently, but I think that was a very synergistic kind of behavior to go along with these things.
Sure.
And I mean, on the psychology thing, it is, I mean, there are a few very important studies done on this which show that as long as you don't take all the blame, that people are very happy with, like, pushing other people over the edge or into the ditch or whatever you say, right? So it makes 100% sense, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's a very sad state of affairs. So, yeah, and then the whole idea of the rebellious Duke, or the son anyway. I just look at it and I go, you've got this very close.
He's playing.
And
he's bored and he's playing.
He's bored.
Absolutely.
Correct. And he's never going to succeed as his father because his father's this powerful duke.
And he's undead and he's not going to die.
But he's not die.
He's not going to die, and there's no repercussions. And so, unlike the elves, which kind of have prided themselves on logic, vampires have always seemed to me to be very self-indulgent creatures, very sort of sensual, emotive kind of beasts. And yet you get all that passion, and then you've got eternity to do it in. So that's why it's like, no, Luca is going to fall in love with Sekhet, especially the way that sort of Sekhet portrays herself as well. So, and as everyone said, it kind of worked out synergetically.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I think to me, because obviously from our kind of pop culture, I think they were always tragic figures, just from the background of them. Like there's always a tragic component to their background usually. I mean, if you look at Strahd is obviously a very tragic person.
Correct.
From the
right. Correct. Even Dracula himself, his wife was murdered or killed herself.
I mean, Strahd is very similar to Dracula.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So,
but yeah.
Anyway, there we are. That's the Windswift for you this week. So the real question on everybody's mind is:
what's Plan C?
No. Burgundy or Prussian blue? I don't know.
I won't read it.
Prussian blue will offset the bruises, I think. Could work quite nicely. Anyway, until next time from all of us, you have a fantastic day, evening, night, morning, time period, wherever you happen to be. Until next time, goodbye.